So I'm at work today and I'm writing something down, and I realized that in my hand I was holding a coil over the entire day almost. So like if you think about it, pen's pretty much a coil over. You have your locked frame position there, coil over nut, the spring riding on the shock. And then you have the bottom end, free to move like the wheel. Top's not going to move. The top of the spring is not going to move. It's locked into place. The wheel is free to move. And if you use this as an example here, you can see, if you click it and you lock it into place so that the spring is squeezed by a certain amount of travel and it's preloaded with force, the force is going to always stay constant between two fixed points. It does take, so I can move it freely without any preload, because pen in its natural state doesn't have preload. Wiggle the cap freely. It's held in by the thread. No preload, you can wiggle it around. With a certain amount of preload between two fixed points, it takes a little bit of force to overcome it. So yeah, that is correct, but we're not, in a car, we're not going between two fixed points. One point is always going to be free to move, the tire, the lower control arm in the tire, or wherever you mount a coil over to on your car. So think about it here. Freely extended, that's the maximum rebound. It's like if the shock was just completely in rebound, it was maximum extended. That's the travel of your shock in compression, completely bumped. And if we put the weight of the car on top of it, just rest it right on top, that's about how much we travel with the weight of the car just resting on top. Full compression, full rebound, weight of the car with a spring that has zero preload. Remember that for a second. So I was thinking, I'm like, how am I going to get preload on this thing? And that's when I realized I have, other pen springs to use. So I took, took this guy and I stacked the two on top of each other effectively to create a spring with double the length, but also half of the spring rate, because when you stack two springs, the rates effectively get halved, or stack two springs of equal length. So now, when you put those two together and you squeeze it down with the coilover nut, you have preload on this guy. See, this guy's tight up against it. I have to give it force to pull it back in, force to hold it together. So now this thing has preload on it. And remember how I clicked the pen earlier? In the state that it is currently in right now, it takes me a little bit of effort to overcome the preload, and then I can go through the spring rate. But in the current state that this is in, the shock is fully extended and it's resting on the bottom bump stop effectively. So it's pinched between two solid points right now. So it's stuck at a certain amount of travel. That's never going to change. Again, this is not what our actual condition is. So if I put the weight of the car back on, again, the spring rate has halved. It is not a stiffer spring. Rest the weight on top. You can see we don't really our ride height effectively has increased. We aren't traveling as much, not because the spring is stiffer, but because there's preload on that spring, and it's taken that increased amount of travel and translated it into ride height. And in this state, I don't have to give it, force to overcome that preload. It's just the rate of the spring that I'm moving. I don't have to give it extra force to overcome that preload, because all that preload turned into a change in ride height. Now again, if I let this thing completely extend, and it's between 2 points right now, now I have to give it a little, if I'm just without the weight of the car, I have to give it a little more to overcome that preload between 2 fixed points, and now I'm in the spring rate. So I don't know if that fucking makes sense.